Before we get started, I just want to say a quick thank you to everybody who has joined the channel recently. A lot of you have just subscribed over the last couple of weeks or so, and I am truly humbled by that. It means the world to me. I can't wait to see where else this whole journey goes, what else you guys are excited for, hopefully delivering on all the stuff that has been promised, and I can't wait to share more with you guys. Without further ado, let's keep the journey going and continuing with this review. Here we go. Love Lies Bleeding was directed by Rose Glass and is her second directorial feature after Saint Maud a few years ago. A movie I actually did talk about on my channel. May have got buried under a bunch of stuff, but long story short, I really liked that movie, and I was very excited to see what her next project would be. This movie follows two women, Lou and Jackie, played by Kristen Stewart and Katie O'Brien, who have met at the gym that Lou operates. They've fallen in love, things seem to be going great, and there seems to be nothing stopping them. However, a certain set of events eventually takes place that does stop that for a second, and they have to find a way out of this certain situation, which is getting increasingly worse by the minute, and it leads to a very intense thriller in the process. The supporting cast of the movie is rounded off with Ed Harris, Dave Franco, Jenna Malone, Anna Baryshnikov. These are very talented actors that you've seen in other stuff before. The last name I mentioned was in Dickinson. Very good show if you haven't seen it. So naturally I was excited to see the movie also for these people, but I didn't really know too much about it going in because I kind of avoided everything. This is something that I've been doing recently, which is I try not to know too much about any movie or show before I actually see it. I feel like it just helps the experience maybe a little bit. What I got with Love Lies Bleeding, Rose Glass's second film over here, is a movie that I think very much matches up to what she's done before. I think as a director, I am so excited to see what she does in years to come. And if this is just the tip of the iceberg, like this is the second movie only, God only knows what else she's capable of. Which is my way of saying she's 2 for 2 with Love Lies Bleeding. I had a really great time with this movie, and I was riveted from start to finish. This movie never lost me for even a second. It is immaculately paced and directed, and it just constantly has you hooked. And it's also thanks to two excellent performances. Kristen Stewart is someone who has just been really rising up the ranks with recent movies. She's been really great in everything that I've seen her in over the last at least 6-7 years. I think she had a really good time making this movie, and you can clearly tell. But really, the showcase is to Katie O'Brien, because in a lot of ways, this is her first big project. You may have seen her, of course, in The Mandalorian Season 3, especially. She was one of the leads of Episode 3, along with Dr. Pershing, Omid Apatai's character. But she was also in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. She played Jentorra, the rebel leader. I think I got that name right. If I got that name right, give me $10, because you know how many characters, new ones, were in that movie? Anyway, and this movie gives her a chance to really tap into some more dramatic aspects of her talent, and I think it absolutely works. I can't wait to see what else she does, and I really hope this is the start of more roles for Katie O'Brien. I think she's an exceptional actress, and over here, this is her best career work. This is a very demanding role. Now, granted, Katie O'Brien before this already was pretty well built, but over here, she's getting bigger, and there's a lot of the movie's plotline going towards that, and essentially what is happening as a result of it. And it leads to moments where she's more aggressive, it leads to more drama, and those moments where she really has to, channel that in the best way possible. And I think she absolutely delivers on those. I think it's a really great star-making performance. Everybody else in the supporting cast is great. I mean, I don't really have to tell you that Ed Harris is good in a movie. It's Ed Harris. You know what to expect at this point. Dave Franco is also very good, so is Jenna Malone and Anna Baryshnikov. Really no faults with the acting, and as I already mentioned, directed immaculately. This is a very slickly done film, very different from what Saint Maud was, which is something that is great because it shows you just the range that a director can have, especially someone who is very early on yet in their career. And I think with these two movies, she has shown really well that she can do a really intense horror movie, a slow burn, and then also something very fast-paced and riveting with this movie. In a lot of ways, this movie does have hints of other stuff before, it being a big crime thriller with a lesbian couple in the middle of it. I mean, you're gonna watch this movie, you're probably gonna think of Bound a bunch of times. In fact, there's a lot of Bound in here. There were a lot of moments in the movie which really did remind me of what the Wachowskis did with that film, and it feels like there are aspects of this very much derived from there. It also has a really great score from Clint Mansell, and it's beautifully shot as well. Lots of very bright neon lighting and colors used throughout the entire film, which are extremely effective and leads to some very well shot sequences, some excellent cinematography on display. The movie also has a lot of different commentaries to offer when it comes to just the idea of the bodybuilding world, or exactly what it takes to make it in life. And there's a lot of things that are explored as a result of that, because those two different plot lines with Lou and Jackie are colliding against each other. And while I do think it's very effective, there are some things that I will say maybe could have been developed a little bit more. This is maybe my one minor issue with the movie, which is I do think that there are aspects brought up that don't quite get the kind of depth that they could, especially when it comes to stuff that's going on with Lou. There are some things over there, especially with her family dynamic, which you get some storylines around, but it's mostly exposition stuff. There's a couple of times where you get some visual cues and flashbacks maybe of sorts, and some little things here and there sprinkled in. There's a whole lore around that I feel like could have been explored some more, and I think it could have led to a slightly richer story. There's also one sequence which I'm not gonna say too much about, but it's a very interesting scene in terms of the way the film is structured, and I can't really talk about that because it's a spoiler, but there is a certain scene where it goes a little further. That's the best way I can explain it without saying too much about it. I'm curious to see how people respond to that, because I'm excited for the reactions. Overall though, I really like Love Lies Bleeding. I hope you guys give it a chance in theaters this weekend. It's a really good time, and it's a very riveting time at the movies, and it's one that I think really does cement Rose Glass even more so as a director to keep an eye on. And even the stars. I mean, like I already said enough about Katie O'Brien, but I'll say it again. She is an actress who has a very bright future ahead of her, and I hope that that future is realized in the best way possible. I'm gonna give Love Lies Bleeding a 9 out of 10. Very pleased with this movie. I saw it with a bunch of friends. They all really liked the movie too, so I feel like that's good consensus over there. And looking forward to hear what you guys think about it. Guys, thank you very much for watching. Look forward to more videos very soon. As always, if you like this, please do subscribe, and I will see you guys at the movies.